How's it going, guys? It's the Atypical Podcast, episode 2 with obviously your boy Jordan. But today I've got a special guest. Instead of it being my mum like I said last episode, instead it's
your boy Tristan Cullen.
Another one of my mates and that, because obviously I don't know anyone that famous to actually get on. So I thought, I'm just going to go with friends and family and then people I just find interesting. So Tristan started off, obviously, just imagine you don't know me and you talk to a stranger, just tell me a bit about yourself.
I've got my own business, Prestige Rugs. Started doing that. I also work full time, so it's a bit of a struggle at the minute with it all. But yeah, just love doing other things and bits and bobs, and I just love working, to be fair.
That's what I love to hear, Tristan. That's what I love to hear. Because Joe last week did paintball marshalling, which is a pretty rad-ass job. And now I've got someone who's starting their own business, realistically.
Yeah.
So what's it called again?
Prestige Rugs.
And tell me what Prestige Rugs is really, if I'm honest.
It's all custom rugs, so you can get like different ones, like your anime ones, your Charizards, different Pokemons and stuff like that. Anything you want, portraits of people. You can even get a portrait of Mona Lisa if you wanted to.
Yeah, but then realistically, do you do them like? I know what you do, and
yeah.
Just for a bit of context, Tristan, it's like a sewing machine and a gun combined. So Tristan's not like doing a computer program. He literally does like the actual sewing bit by hand in a way, just with a bit of assistance. Because I imagine if you did it by hand, it'd take you ages.
Well, to be fair, you can get them by hand as well. They got like it's a little shooter still, but you've got to push it in sort of thing for.
Oh, like a manual one?
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't actually know that. I thought no one in the right mind would actually spend their time just sort of tapping away, like just type
sewing it through.
Yeah, so from what I understand, Tristan, if I give you a photo of, say, Iron Man, you could in theory then you could turn that into a rug.
Yes, whatever size you want as well.
Yeah, so it's as simple as that.
Yeah, literally.
But with the bit of skill from Tristan, obviously you couldn't just everyone
in the right hands.
It is an art form at the end of the day. It's not obviously anyone can paint, but you can't really paint the Mona Lisa. Tristan can make a mug out of the Mona Lisa, but I don't think everyone else could.
Oh.
So is it just rug making you're doing then? Obviously, what did you do for your full-time job?
I work in a door canopy place.
Chinchillin. You can't say the name of the company, unfortunately.
No, we'll never say.
One, because they don't pay me for the advertisement, and to my whole handful of listeners. And two, it's too much hassle. It's too much hassle for me. So apart from doing your canopies, is it literally just just rugs or because I know you quite well, Tristan. We've been friends for ages, and you're not just sort of, I'm just doing this one thing type of guy. You don't just juggle one plate. You kind of have about 6. Yeah, you have about 7 on the go. So, I mean, is there anything else that you're really thinking of? Like, I don't know. Have you got the next best invention since like the bread knife or?
Well, to be fair, I've got a few. So, you never really get them nowadays, but when you go to hospital and you broke your leg or whatever, you never get some nice socks that keeps your toes warm, because that's still poking out, so the socks go over the top.
Right. So what was it? So footless socks, technically.
Yeah.
Or we're talking like little toe huggies and that.
Toe huggies, and toes.
Yeah, have you got any others?
Also, this is a good fun for gardeners. Some cream so it can stop the blisters for when you're raking and stuff like that. Also for handyman stuff as well.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, bro. That actually exists.
Does it actually?
Yeah, I mean, so you know what? Well, calluses. I've got calluses. But all calluses really are is your skin toughening up.
But are you on about that green handyman cream?
So crazy, bro. Kind of, but that's after work moisturiser, and I used to use that. I don't know if you've worked, I'm guessing, in a reputable company, but your wash stations, they'll usually, if they're a decent company, they'll have 2 containers with gels for prepping your hands. It's called pre-work. Then you'll finish work, obviously, and that you'll wash your hands with it after work, which has got the hard gritty bits in.
Yeah.
And then if your company actually likes you, you can get a moisturiser. They have a moisturiser as well. I use my own moisturiser because I can't stand that. I get home and I always have dry hands, just from like my day to days.
True.
So
does it prevent you from getting blisters or like full on blisters?
I don't really get blisters.
Do you not? Oh, okay.
So maybe it works. Yeah, it works. I didn't mean to shoot you down on that one, unfortunately, pal.
No.
It was just right. I'm very big on hands.
Yeah.
You know, you lose them 10 digits, you're screwed.
Oh, I'm cutting myself all the time, me. Nothing worse.
But Will, can I tell you a random well, it's not really I didn't hurt my hand, but do you know I ended up in the hospital last week?
Did you really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I said like that, but yeah. Come.
So I basically I didn't crack my head open. Oh, so I have mentioned it to you, like that I was in hospital and what I did and that, but obviously I'm going to give you a bit more of an interesting story about it. And me and my girlfriend Alicia actually have a theory on something else that happened that we realised afterwards. So, for people who don't know, I was just at work and I was pushing a metal cabinet and I didn't realise that the cabinet was going under a doorway and there's been boxes on top of the door. As it's gone under the doorway's then pushed all the other boxes, and unfortunately for me, a box has then fallen straight on top of my head. And it was a steel box, and it was full of like, you know, LED type lights and that.
Yeah.
So when I injure myself, I'm not woe is me.
Fussed, yeah, like
No, I am fussed. I get angry. Because to me it's an inconvenience. So as soon as I felt the pain in my head, I just I had my hat on, my like baseball cap, put my hands on my head and just sort of, you know when you like bang your head and you sort of put your head into your pillow thinking that's going to help.
Yeah.
I had sort of one of them moments where I just sort of held my head and walked straight into the staff room. And so I crouched down and one of my bosses was seen what happened and went and passed me and noticed I was injured, went straight to the first aider because it was a head injury.
Yeah, literally.
As I've been crouched down, I've had my work gloves on. I've literally whipped my hat down, put my hands on my head and gone like, oh god, this like wreck. Like it was awful. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, like in terms of pain.
Yeah, but
I thought it just something had banged my head and that. And then as I hear my boss going like to the first aider, like get off the phone, like we need you and that. I had to put my hands down, look directly at my hands, and my hands were covered in blood.
Bloody hell.
So that's one little thing. I think my hat might have been stopping the bleeding. So as I've taken my hat off, because my hat wasn't drenched in blood, as I've taken my hat off, I've then let all the blood come out.
Oh.
So I've shouted to the first aider, like, come here, I'm bleeding. I've got my head over the sink, dripping on pots, and it was like something out of carry. I had blood just dripping from my forehead, down my face, behind my ears. And then, not the most interesting bit, my clean-up bit. My bosses were amazing though with everything, considering what happened and that. And
that's all you asked for, innit, really?
Yeah, and one of my co-workers kind of went the extra mile. So my boss was cleaning my head wound and that. Now get this, apart from the initial actual like headache I had and the pain of the injury, I didn't feel dizzy. I didn't feel sick. I weren't knocked. I weren't knocked out. Like I said, I just stood up and pissed off and walked out. And I weren't in that much pain after like when they were cleaning it, that I was, like proper like big noise.
Yeah.
I were having a laugh and a joke and that, and said like, reassuring the first aid and that for all that shit and saying like it was just an accident and that. Like don't get me wrong, it weren't no one's actual fault and that.
No.
So she's cleaning up the cut on my head. And then one of my co-workers is cleaning up my face, my ears, bro, stuff like that. Because they were just like, just passed me like a bottle of water. I was like, just drink this water, Jordan, just in little sips. So I couldn't like start wiping my face. He washed. When I turned up to the hospital, you wouldn't have initially thought I would have had an head injury. I had to go. I didn't think I needed to go to the hospital at all. I literally, apart from the pain and a mild bit of headache, which you'd expect after getting cracked in the head.
Yeah.
I felt fine and everything. Like I said, laughing, joking. I wanted to go for a cigarette and stuff. They were like, do you want a drink? I was like, yeah, I've got a can of Red Bull somewhere. Someone get it for me. Yeah. So my boss took me to hospital for legal reasons. Went into hospital. I hate our local hospital. Got 20 questions. Now, if I'd have had a concussion or brain injury or anything like that, I wouldn't have been able to answer any of this stuff. Standard, what's your name, date of birth, where do you live, email address, next of kin, all that. I'm just reeling this information off like it's nothing. So 2 hours was sat there, and my boss had to come with me for legal reasons. But when I actually got to a woman who was asking like about any symptoms and that, she was like, "Oh, so was the box heavy? What was in the box?" Now, like I said, as soon as it hit me, bro, I walked out pissed. So I didn't even look at this box.
Yeah.
So I turned to my boss, who had seen the box, and went, "What was in it?" And they've replied to the doctor, it was like a steel box with LED lights in type things. And the doctor just snapped at my boss and went, "I'd like him to respond, actually, not you." What? And I'm there looking like from my boss to the doctor like, but she's got the answers.
Yeah.
You know, she's not telling you how I feel. She's telling you what happened. And then my boss was quiet and that. And then when it got better, because then when I was getting the woman came in to glue my head, she said even the woman was like, this is the worst part of the body to glue because there's always loads of blood and all this stuff. And she was like, but it's really clean and that, whoever did it did a good job. To which point I pointed over to the boss and was like, yeah, that's them right over there, first aider. Like I said, bro, all my face was clean. I'd stopped bleeding, so there were no blood dripping. It was literally just, I had dried bloody hair. And then because I'm a tall lad, it's literally, you can't even see it because of my hair. It's just still there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wash. And I weren't allowed to wash my hair for a week, which was a nightmare. So here comes on to the theory. So remember I said I had my hat on and the blood didn't start dripping or anything, so I took my hat off.
Yeah.
When I got home afterwards and that, I was looking at my hat, and I wish I could actually show you in person, but my hat is actually at work. Because I had to put it in my locker because I was sweating. But the little hard bit at the top of the hat.
Like the metal bits inside?
No, like the hard nibble thing at the top.
On outside, yeah.
Yeah. So notice how I'm indicating it on to the top back of my head, Tristan, near my crown, is exactly where my cut is. The steel box that fell, which I'll add in as a picture for people listening who watch it on YouTube and that, and I will just pick up my phone now and actually show you the box because I've got a picture of it. So it's like a slanted blue steel box. So I'm just showing Tristan the box now that fell onto my head and that. And according to one of the people who's like, the guy saw what happened, it fell on the edge, so it came edge down, right? My cut on my head is about 2 centimetres. The only reason it bled so much probably is because it was on my head. I had a corking egg little lump though. Right?
Oh no.
If you look inside my nightcap, I've actually got a picture of that as well, I've just realised, which will also put on. In fact, I'm not going to put the picture there because I've just realised looking at the photo, it's got blood on it.
Yeah, so you can't.
Yeah, so I'm going to put a generic photo of the inside of a hat on and then kind of just point to it. You guys will be seeing what I'm on about right now anyway. But for Tristan, that there, can you see how there's the liquid, the blood basically, there's the blood on the actual metal bit.
Yeah.
I think as the things hit my head, it's hit that, not my actual head. So that's what's gone into my skull and cut me.
Yeah.
But instead of that, it was better that than the full edge of this box karate chopping me on top of the head. So me and Alicia think that my hat is generally probably stopped me from probably not from it being worse, because like I said, bro, I felt completely fine.
Yeah.
Now this could all be just hearsay, and I've overthought something as small as there's only a little bit of blood in my hat. But like I said, one of the witnesses said they saw it fall like that, and for how scot-free I got off, there's no way. My hat's got to have protected me in some way. And one of the lads made a very excellent point, because why did no one warn me the boxes were going to fall? The guy, one of the lads pointed out, if someone had noticed when that box was falling and shouted "Eds," what would I naturally do? I would have looked up.
Yeah.
Straight at the fucking steel box coming straight at my head. Yeah, so in a way it was kind of a good thing. Well, yeah, it was a good thing that no one saw it happening to warn me. Because if they'd have warned me, I wouldn't have been in the position I was in. And would have probably been a bit worse. But yeah, so
where are you now?
Yeah, and I missed the voting. I couldn't vote because I was in the hospital all afternoon. I don't know how to do a mail-in vote, so we're doing that. So yeah, we were pretty much... And then I went back to work and finished the last 2 hours off my shift. Don't get me wrong though, they give me a little easy job to do at work.
Yeah, they didn't override you.
Yeah, and I was just listening to music, and conveniently this job was literally right next to the office where the first aider was working as well. So yeah, it was all fine. Right, so that was my little random story about, that was my story about how I ended up in the hospital last week. What we were on about inventions. Oh, right, yeah. So
Yeah.
I give you the topic. That's why I said about what you do, because I know, Tristan, you're a very savvy lad and you've got a lot of things that's like on your mind and stuff
I can't
in
see
the
my main
works.
ones, but
Yeah, we want. That's what I pre-warned Tristan. He can't really give anyone the $1 billion ideas because someone's gonna steal it. So Tristan's gonna give us the $100,000 ideas. So go with give me your ideal ones first, because obviously I've done a bit of research as well, and it was
they are my two, but I have got some inventions that actually no.
You're not right.
No, I haven't got anything.
Do you want me to start?
Go on.
Right. So, I've got around two little actual cool facts and all that as I was going along, and this is to do with like copyright. So so people can't copy other people's stuff.
Yeah.
So, fella who invented the internet didn't copyright it.
Oh.
He's not as he's a rich guy now. He's got a fella called Tim Berners. Is what I found. I think he's got a double-barreled last name as well, and I completely forgot to write it. So his full name will be on screen right now. And from what I could dig up about it and that, it was, long story short, just simply he didn't think he should profit off people's being able to spread information.
Yeah.
So there's that one, and then completely on the other end of the spectrum, fidget spinners. You know, when that was a craze, you know how there was millions of different types of fidget spinners?
Yeah.
So, from what I found in my research, a woman called Catherine Hellinger, I think that's how you pronounce her name, she's the one who, like, designed it, made it, or whatever, and we'll just say made the first one.
Yeah.
She got rejected by Hasbro, the guy people make Transformers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it just kind of never got patented until someone in the late 2010s made them and started selling them, and then other people got on the trend, and everyone knows what happened after that.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of so that was my two little non-copyrighted ones. The internet one and the fidget one, I've not. It's just one of the things that I've just kind of read one day, and I thought, you know what, that would be interesting for the podcast today. So I just made sure I made a note of it. Other stuff. What really interests me is inventions that we use nowadays that were complete accidents. To quote Bob Ross, happy accidents.
Yes.
So I've got I'll go with a really classic one, because I did ask you to do a bit of research as well. So we might have probably the same ones.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the easy as hell one, penicillin. Dr. Alexander Fleming, literally tea tree dish with some microbes in, left it out, and that came back. Turned out that there were like all the germs or whatever was like gone on one side because he'd accidentally made penicillin.
Ooh. See, I've got post-it notes. It was actually a failed experiment because Dr. Spence, was it? He tried making tape. No, like a different tape.
What, like a strong type of tape?
Yeah. And it wasn't as sticky. So he said, right, well, I can do something else with this, and made it into sticky notes instead.
I like that one. No, to be fair, that's seeing that is kind of, because it's seeing the beauty in something that didn't go right. Because that's literally the polar opposite, realistically, isn't it?
I'm just thinking about how many I'm gonna go around now.
Yeah. And see, I'd be interested to know wait. So, do you reckon? You know, we call them. You get like post-it notes.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's is that the brand? I'm gonna research. I'm actually gonna double check this after the episode, and I'm gonna kind of put the answer.
That's what we're calling it.
Yeah. So, for example, if I asked you to clean the carpet, I'd say, Tristan, grab the Hoover.
Yeah.
Hoover's not what it is. Hoover's a brand.
Yeah.
It's actually a vacuum cleaner.
Oh.
I think it's I think the story's like Henry Hoover just commercialised vacuum cleaners, so they're associated with him.
But I think it is because it's sort of in its name again, like with the Hoover, because it hooves it up. But post it not.
How Coke is actually cola, but especially for where we live and that, if someone said to you, you wouldn't say, do you want a glass of cola, you'd say, can I have a Coke? And you get the standard line, is Pepsi okay? No. Right, well, actually, that leads me to a random fact. So I actually learnt this on a video I was watching last night. Have you ever heard of Pepsi Crystal? Pepsi Clear. It's either Pepsi Clear or Pepsi Crystal, but it's Clear Pepsi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old like Pepsi product that they sort of discontinued after a couple of years because it didn't outsell. Well, there was a small company owned by Coca-Cola called Tab in America, and a fellow who worked for Coca-Cola, on the product development team, he pioneered Tab. He used, instead of having Coca-Cola Clear, because obviously Coke and Pepsi rivals, and Coke didn't want to look like the copycat, so they used one of the other brands and made Tab Clear, which Tab was originally a diet line for them, so it was like Diet Coke. Yeah. But I think this was before Diet Coke, and Tab never really did well anyway, apparently, up until that point. So they started selling Tab Clear, but it would say on the cans, a product by Coke. The listeners will know what I'm on about because there'll be a picture on the screen again. But for you, I'm more describing it. But just imagine like a silver tin which says Tab Clear.
Yeah.
Products by Coke, endorsed by Coca-Cola type thing.
Yeah.
And it was apparently horrible. It were minging, and naturally it would get stored next to Pepsi Clear on shops and that. And Tab failed, and then Pepsi failed, and the person who came up with the idea for Tab, he said the reason he did that was instead of beating Pepsi in the competition for a good clear drink taste, he was going to make the idea of a clear drink disgusting.
Oh.
So he deliberately made a bad drink knowing that people would associate that with clear cola.
Yeah.
And then Pepsi would lose what was at the time one of their most popular drinks.
Yeah. Oh.
There's a couple of flaws in this guy's logic, if I'm honest, though, Tristan, from what I found out. One of them, he'd had a bit of a record for bringing out bad products.
Yeah.
So his ideas had failed. And then Tab Clear came out before Pepsi Clear. Yeah. And I'm not talking like a couple of days or a couple of months. I think it was like, I'd say 2-3 years max, minimum of a year.
Yeah, because it's got to be the right.
Well, no, see, I think so. If Tab was to ruin Pepsi, Tab would have come out after Pepsi.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So I mean, don't get me wrong. It's one of them. Maybe the drink. So maybe it just failed. I didn't actually look on what after that. I didn't actually look into why Pepsi Clear had failed. After that, I was like sort of full of like facts and that.
Yeah.
But not so much. So that's not so much an accidental invention. That's an invention. He invented one thing, but then lied and said it were another type accident. Yeah. So he said, "Oh, I did that accident on purpose."
So did you know that the first kid was to make popsicles?
I did. Am I okay to steal your facts and recite it to you?
Yeah, I read it wrong.
I know this from pure general knowledge.
Yeah.
So popsicles, popsticks, ice pops, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. He was making like a cordial on his porch, and he was using a wooden spoon thing to stir it, and he left it out overnight and came back the next day, and it was frozen solid. And because it was like a paper or a plastic cup, he pulled it off and realised he'd basically just made a frozen treat.
Wow, I never knew that, to be fair.
You came in with this fact.
I actually did. I didn't really fill into it.
What? So what did you just write? Ice pops.
No. I read it a bit, and then it just said I just thought it was interesting facts.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I might have added my own little bit in terms of like what maybe the cup was made out.
There may be different storylines, and if there is,
but yeah,
comments.
The general term is he was making juice, left it outside. Okay. It had a stick in it. Came back next day. The stick had frozen into the juice. Bam! He had a frozen ice pop. Can I give you one?
Go on.
This is another one that I've known for ages, and it's one of them I like to name drop. Do you know bubble wrap was actually released for something else before it was released as packaging?
Yeah, what was it released for?
Wallpaper.
What?
It was released as wallpaper. The guy who invented it, the way he invented it was something like putting two shower curtains together and trapping air pockets.
Yeah.
And it was then sold off as wallpaper, and they realised it's not good wallpaper. I don't know how they then came to bubble wrap, which is what it's good for, but somewhere it occurred to someone that it was better for that. So then that's how we got bubble wrap. So that wasn't even like that was made as it was, but they just got the purpose wrong.
Wow.
You got another one? I've only got a couple more if I'm honest. Let me check my next page. Yeah.
Did you know them slap bracelets had measuring tape inside it?
Yes, I actually did.
Did you?
Was that an accidental invention?
I reckon so, because originally it went round. Until the first person was like...
Because as soon as you said that, all I can imagine is just a couple of builders just like... and then sort of going, let's put the bricks down.
We got
one. Well, then I've got a couple for you then, Tristan.
Yes.
Microwave.
Oh, go on.
Not the actual form of radiation. Microwave, like ovens.
Yeah.
Actually I did a bit of search. So a person called Percy LeBaron Spencer was working on magnetrons, which is just like high power, basically type stuff. And he walked near these microwaves, and he had a chocolate bar in his pocket. And he noticed when he walked out that the chocolate bar had melted. So he did another experiment to see if the same thing would happen, and it did. I asked you earlier, and you didn't answer, and I told you I wouldn't say the answer to the podcast.
No.
Have you figured out how do you think microwaves actually work? I found this out one day, like a year or two ago. My mind was blown. Told 2 people, and they said they told me the exact answer. So I thought I was thick, but it turns out I just asked 2 people who just knew too much about microwaves. Now I'm gonna have a little sip of my brew then.
Have a quick think, because we got a minute.
We've got a minute. Don't make this episode like 6 hours long though.
No.
Worst comes to worst, I could always cut out your thing.
Yeah. I actually have no clue, you know, because all I'm thinking is just...
I'll tell you if you want.
Yeah, go on.
The microwaves evaporate the water in the food, which cooks it.
Oh, wow. Wait, whoa. Never knew that.
So if you put bread in the microwave, it'll come out like hard and crumbly.
Yeah. Wow. As if you just messed my mind up like that.
I was fascinated. Sorry, I was just necking it for a minute. I was fascinated when I found that out. Play-Doh was originally sold for kids to play with and eat. It was wallpaper cleaner.
Really?
Yeah, it was used to clean walls.
Never knew that. That's a good one, that, to be fair.
Yeah, you can actually still use it. Right.
I think I'm all out, though.
You're all right. Well, I did a bit more digging. So you know how you were saying about how we were... So obviously you've got the inventions that worked, haven't you?
Yes.
I also looked into just different things to do with inventions. You know, like people who invented stuff that didn't work, or people who did the weirdest shit. For example, do you know who Soulja Boy is?
Yes, I do.
Right, good. No, in fact, not good, because I was going to make a nice little cheeky pun and go, let me tell him. So, if anyone ever gets bored, just look into this. Soulja Boy is like a rich version of like what you would be if I think you wasn't as smart. Wait, no, to be fair, do you know how Soulja Boy got popular with his song? Little side note for you. You know, this Soulja Boy Crank That. Do you know how that actually became popular before like the standardised like YouTube and that? You remember LimeWire, where you would download your illegal music?
Yeah.
Soulja Boy, well, he said in interviews this is what he did. He would go on to LimeWire, put Crank That on it, but make the song name a popular new song that had just come out.
So people downloaded his song.
Yeah, they click it, and then can you imagine, you want to listen to the new Rihanna, and all you hear is, you!
No, yeah. Soulja Boy, tell.
But Soulja Boy's released a game console. Didn't work. It was basically an emulator.
Oh, I didn't know that to first.
And then you've got more successful people. So, do you know who Gwyneth Paltrow is? She's the Pepper Potts in Iron Man.
Yes, yeah.
She has a company called Goop. I don't know a lot of the products, but the basis of her like product line is natural healing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like massively expensive. The one product that I don't know if you've seen it online, and it's just one thing I just don't understand. She has a candle that apparently smells like her fanny.
Oh.
Yeah. I can see you trying to work it out now from the question of how do they know what her fanny smells like? Yeah. Why would people want to smell her fanny? Why would she let someone make a scent of her fanny? And who was there to sort of sniff the candle and sniff the fanny and go, that's it.
Wonderful.
That's it. And how do you go through the science process of that without getting offended? Because obviously you've got the... How do I say this now that sound immature? How women's private parts are associated with aquatic animals.
Yes.
But could you imagine just the sort of the like raw chemistry, like bit of tuna? No. Bit more tuna. Bit of asparagus and all this stuff. And she's there like...
the catfish.
Yeah. And then she smells it and goes... Well, you know what? How does she know what her fanny smells like? Do you see what I mean, Tristan? Yeah. It opens up so many more... I could do a whole podcast on just what this fucking fanny thing... I'm never buying it. I nearly said that I might buy one. It probably costs a fortune.
We'll buy it and tell you what it smells like.
And it smells like a fanny. So I also looked into... I went really hard on that goop there.
I know, but you know, obviously, Peaky Blinders, that main actor Tom... What's his actual thing he called? The actor called now. Have you seen Peaky Blinders?
Yeah, what? Who's
Tom?
Tom?
The main guy.
Thomas Shelby?
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy?
Yeah, have you not seen what he's done the other day? Apparently, in what I've seen on Facebook.
Is the new film that's coming out with him in?
No. He's bought a football team. Like, put our shares into it.
Everyone's at it now. Football's not even safe. Oh my god.
Shelby's on block.
Yeah. Little random fact for you. Do you know the wrestler Dave Bautista?
Yeah.
I swear to God, right? Picture will be on screen. Tristan, you just got to believe me until you Google it. Has a tattoo of Cillian Murphy on his thigh.
Really?
Yeah, I was watching an interview with him, and Dave Bautista basically said like he wanted a picture of Thomas Shelby on his thigh, but obviously the only visual representation he had at the time was Cillian Murphy's character. So when he showed the tattoo artist, he says, "I want Thomas Shelby. Don't make him look like Cillian Murphy." And this tattooist has done a portrait of Cillian Murphy as fucking Thomas Shelby on his thigh. It's brilliant because it's not like you even go, "Oh, it looks a bit like Cillian Murphy." That it's Thomas Shelby.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, he's bringing out a new film called Oppenheimer. It's basically like, have you watched Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch about the Enigma?
No.
Oh well, for anyone who's watched that, it's basically that. What else have we got? Oh, a couple of Kickstarters. Because I enjoy Kickstarters because I like the ones that succeed.
Yeah.
And I find it hilarious the ones that fail. So here's a really cool idea, but didn't work. So you know at your chargers.
Yes.
So a company called Znaps, Znaps, one word, got 2.3 million in backing. And the concept of it was a charger, but the end of your charger cord was magnetised, and it was to stop people, you know, like yanking the phones out and that, tripping over wires. It would easily disattach and reattach. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
The backers ran off with all the money. That's literally what happened, bro. Not even the fact the product was shit, because it sounds like a decent idea. Because apparently it wouldn't even be that expensive.
No.
They ran off with the money from what I've been told. They might have come back with it now. I don't know.
We'll never know.
Did you ever watch the Yogscast?
Yeah.
They had a Kickstarter for a game called Yog Ventures. The Yogs, for anyone who doesn't know what the Yogscast is, it was they're still going, but yeah, they were a YouTube channel. I'd say about 10 years ago when they were popular, and they made a popular series called Shadow of Israfel. It was like a story along, but in Minecraft and that. And then they expanded from there. And then I think weirdly enough, I think 2 of them have been in trouble for illicit things.
Wasn't that Simon and...
Yeah, don't name drop them. I'm not being sued.
I could be wrong anyways. But I know,
I actually don't think it's actually Simon as well. Because he got really ill at one point and like had to stop doing anything to do with the Yogscast.
Oh really? I didn't know.
Yeah,
that's what might seem a bit Simon.
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
So they did a thing called the Yog Ventures. Now they got 500,000 in pledges for this game. Simon and Lewis, the founders and main like people and that, They had no game development experience or anything. So they hired a company which is called Winter Cool. I know it sounds. I'm not doing a South Park impression there. It's spelled Winter Kewl. Winter Cool.
Wow.
That is a great name, but it is madness to even say. They'd never developed a game before.
So does that one make sense?
Exactly.
They may as well learn themselves at that point. They've just wasted money.
Practically, yeah. So that were a good idea, but that was sort of all the idea, no gear, yeah, type of thing. So I won't lie, Tristan. That's pretty much all I have for actual random inventions. Have you got anything more on like inventions and stuff like that? And then I'm gonna try and segue to another topic.
I've not, but before we segment onto the other topic, I got a riddle for you.
Oh, you want to go for a riddle? Right, go on then.
Yeah.
Right, let me have a scratch my brain.
You've got a lot of brains and you should get this one. So, a man lives on the 12th floor of these apartment blocks. He gets in the elevator, he goes to the ground floor, he gets into his car and goes to work. Right. He comes home from work, he gets into elevator, he goes on the 10th floor and goes up 2 flights of stairs. How come? Been doing this for 20 years as well. Right.
So, never really had this opportunity, but I've got a notepad and a pen. Tell me the middle to last bit again.
He comes home from work,
Yeah.
He goes to the 10th floor,
Yeah.
and up 2 flights of stairs to get to his apartment.
But he can get to the bottom floor from his apartment floor.
Yeah.
The guy's really short.
Yeah, that's right. Do you know what? I'm actually fuming.
Do you want... Right, so, I'm not going to show anyone this random scribble I did, but that's what made me figure out he was short, because I did a dot there for some reason, and then I did another dot there, and wait, you can hit the bottom dot if you're short, but you can't hit the top dot.
Do you know what? I'll give you that one.
Yes.
Because everyone that I've said it to, I've had them there for half an hour.
And all I needed was the last bit of it, and a fucking... Yeah, so I've got a couple of like cheeky things to ask you.
Yeah, go on.
But have you watched them? So they've just released the second the trailer for the second The Meg.
Okay.
Starring Jason Statham.
Yeah.
And a few other people. Have you ever seen the first one?
No, I've not seen the first one, not yet.
Brilliant. Right. Elevator pitch on what this film's about. Jason Statham, badass little ocean diver. Yeah?
Yes.
They've found a thermal layer under the ocean. Basically like a layer of the ocean that's really cold that's blocking 2 separate bits of the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nothing living could pass through it.
Yeah.
Something's passed through it. A megalodon.
Okay.
There's a research station.
Yeah.
The megalodon starts pissing about with the researchers. They decide, right, we're going to go out and catch it. They kill and catch the megalodon, for then a bigger one to jump over and eat that one and fuck off. Bits and bobs happen. The megalodon starts heading for... people die. The megalodon starts heading for people type stuff. Jason Statham does some little badass little like thing in a little submarine and chops the thing in the neck and it dies.
Yeah.
That's basically the first film. The second film is even easier to describe to you. Even though I've not seen it, I've only seen the trailer.
Okay.
It's basically Jaws and the Fast and the Furious. When it got silly.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So, from what you can tell in the trailer, the same thermal pocket thing they've now discovered that there's other old creatures down there and that. And these creatures have escaped to the surface, right?
Oh dear.
Right?
So does it look like it's going to go off?
This is where, if you watch the trailer, you'd understand why, like, the action shots and that, why it's so fast and furious here.
Yeah.
But in terms of stupidness now, there's 3 Megs, and
there's
a lot
of them.
Yeah. And it's very much aimed at, like, a coastal, like, resort type thing. Like, there's, like, people, like, holidaying and shooting that. This is just from the trailer.
Yeah.
And there's, like, other creatures that have broke through. But it seems so high actioned and unnecessary. At one point, bro, it literally looks like Jason Statham stops one of the Megs with his leg. Like with one foot, just like it's coming up like at this dock towards him. He's backed up, leans back, puts his foot up in front of him, and just lands on the Meg's nose, and the Meg stops. I'm guessing there's some other bullshit involved, because obviously this is the trailer.
Unless that's something got to do with the Meg's finger. No, with the nose. Like
No, because sharks can't stop. They have to continuously swim.
But what do you class it? Is it a shark?
The Megalodon is a shark, yeah.
Yeah. Right. See, not watched it.
I
need to watch it.
This is the Fast and the Furious bullshit part of it. Right? So, listen, this is my idea for it, though. Do the Meg for the start. So a Meg comes up, it gets killed in the first 5 minutes pretty efficiently. Like, the people have trained for this shit.
Yeah.
And then it becomes established that since the first Meg came through, other ones keep popping up every now and then. So now they've got a skilled team who are fucking quality at fighting these Megalodons now.
Yeah.
Then they discover that there's other creatures down there. These creatures, which is like a giant octopus and other like big creatures, they start coming through. Now these people are not equipped for fighting an octopus. They can kill sharks like it's nothing. But octopuses and other types of creatures, they don't know what they're doing. That's the crisis.
Yeah.
You know, maybe chuck an extra Meg in there every now and then, but just kill the Megs.
Yeah.
And literally, I don't know, maybe the boat or the station they use for killing these Megs is called the Meg or something like that. That'd be my idea. But honestly, bro, it's bullshit. And I'll watch it when it comes on Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say this because I'll probably go and watch the first one and watch the second one tomorrow. Well, I can't. So guess what I've been doing this past couple of days, Jordan?
Go on.
To get my mind off things, I've been building Lego Groot with the missus.
Like an actual set, or you've just...
It's like Lego set, and you just build it yourself. It's got like a flip-through book.
How big's this Groot? Why is it taking you so long? Is it the one Callum got?
Yeah, exactly the same one.
Tristan, I'm so disappointed in you. I'm sure it's all small.
I love Groot.
Have you seen my little Lego thing? That's the Spider-Man that I was on about.
Yeah, that's it.
Usually he stands on top of my PlayStation 5, and you've not noticed like the little Lego mechs that are just like climbing around my TV. I went through a bit of just like one there as well. I went through a bit of a phase. Sorry, I'm just people who don't know what's going on. I'm just pointing like little bits of Lego out to Tristan now.
No, I've been enjoying it the past couple of days. It's been
it's good.
Different.
Yeah, it's good. Like you said, you're doing it with your missus.
Yeah,
if it was me doing it on my own, I'd crash smash that thing off in like less than an hour.
No, it's like 400 odd pieces as well, so it's like it's getting good.
It's getting good.
We've got the head to do next, and we want more.
These nerds nowadays. So I got a couple of would you rathers because I did this with Joe last week, and I realised it's actually quite fun. Because you don't know what I'm going to ask you, and I kind of like that I can get you on the spot.
Yeah.
So, I've got 2 would you rathers, and then just a little bit of other random shit that I just kind of want to tell you if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So, my first would you rather is, would you rather walking on your parents having sex, or your parents walking on you having sex?
Is it right? So, is it specifically my parents, or can it be the other female's parents too?
Well, no, because then that would be, would all your parents walking on you having sex, or would you walking on all your parents having sex? You just turn it into an orgy now, Tristan. We'll go with your parents then. Your parents. If I was asking, it'd be her parents, but it's your parents.
It's already happened, hasn't it? So.
so you're gonna go for you've already got the wound.
Yeah. I'd probably allow my mum to walk in, like not allow her to walk in. Come here a minute.
Shout her and then like right, let's get it on.
No, but I'll probably I'd accept it more them walking in on me.
Right, yeah, fair enough. I've done the opposite and walked in accidentally on my parents. Luckily I saw nothing and I was that young that if I did, I hope it's burned its way out of my memory now.
Well, I've heard a competition once whilst I was sat up top at stairs crying.
You're disgusting, we don't need that now.
No.
So, a bit of an easy one. Would you rather have the face of a pensioner and the body of a 25-year-old, or the face of a 25-year-old and the body of a pensioner? And by pensioner we're talking like 85, like 90.
Like droopy. Yeah.
Average. You've not done a lot with your like health, but you've not done that little that you've made like you're crippled.
I don't know, right? Because if I think about it logically, if I had like an 85-year-old's body, at least I'll have a bit more body mass.
You probably have less. To be fair, true, I didn't specify if it was a big 85-year-old or a skinny 85-year-old. So you've got with the 25-year-old person.
Yeah, because I still look good on the outside.
But your hands, lad. Your hands. Your neck.
Yeah, but I can wear gloves.
And what a snood in the middle of summer.
Hey, I wear bubble coats all the time.
That's true. Have you ever seen Austin Powers, the third one? This isn't a would you rather. This is a random thought I had the other day that I just thought I'd bring up because it's crazy.
No, I might have done. I might not have done.
I think it's called Austin Powers Gold Member.
Yeah. I've watched bits. I've like.
Well,
in that bit.
You know the female like type love interest for Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Do you know the actress who plays her? And it's just when I was just thinking about it and was like, no way did they do that.
Yeah.
It's Beyonce.
What?
Yeah, the main reason that made me realise it is I'm sure there's a scene in it where Beyonce's like stood with like Austin Powers and Mini-Me, who's God rest his soul, played by like Vern Troyer. And Mini-Me starts dog humping Beyonce's leg, but like proper like type thing and that, and Austin Powers is like down Mini-Me, down, and sprays a bottle of water on him. How did she? Do you reckon someone just went, "What'd you do, Beyonce?" She's like, "Go on, because she does other stuff in that as well, like not like other stuff, but like just like crazy stuff in that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's a quality film, and it's not like I'm saying she was in a snub like rubbish film.
Yeah,
it's a brilliant film. It's just one of them where I saw it, just forgot and sort of went, "Oh yeah, it's Beyonce." Foxy Cleopatra. That's what the character's called.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I've got for my notes and my interest in stuff, Tristan. So if you want, you can have 5 minutes if you want to plug your shit. So your rug business.
Yeah.
If you've got socials, everything. I'm literally going to go quiet for 2 minutes and just let Tristan plug whatever he wants. And then we'll finish the podcast.
Yeah.
So I'll
I've the rugs that I'll be doing, the types of rugs, it'll be your car rugs. I'll be also doing wall rugs. So like, I know one person wants it for their barbershop. It's going on their wall. I'll also be doing just a normal floor rugs, obviously. I do post on TikTok, Twitter, and also Facebook. Prestige Rugs.
I'll put links in the description as well for you, lad.
Oh, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Of course.
And I will be dropping a video this Sunday. But I can't tell you what that's off yet. So keep your eyes open.
What are you posting the video on?
On all social media, just TikTok, everything. So just keep updated with everything. But there will be a website coming in the next few months. I've not got dates ready yet, but I will be posting that on my Facebook and that, and when everything's sorted, so you can start taking some orders if you want some orders as well. But yeah, that's all stuff about it. My socials.
Loved it. Yeah, all Tristan's socials for Prestige Rugs will obviously be in the description. Even though there's going to be quite a bit of visual on this podcast, like, so I'm just going to chuck obviously a bit of, because me and Tristan have obviously talked about stuff that you guys can't see. I'm going to chuck them in so you can see what we're on about, and even see stuff Tristan didn't know. I'm also going to try and get this on Spotify, because I forget that other people don't have YouTube Premium and have to keep YouTube tabs open. So hopefully, you might be listening to this on Spotify. If not, thank you, YouTube. And thank you so much, Tristan, for coming on, pal.
No, thank you.
I honestly, I'm only cutting the episode short because we're over 50 minutes in. I could have talked I've got about 3 more pages worth of stuff we could have talked about, which means you're definitely going to have to come back another time and that.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know how far down, like, you might be, because I got quite a few people who, like, really want to come on and that, and it's just sort of fitting days in.
No, well, it's best off leave it for a few months, if not a bit longer, because then they can listen to the updates and everything and what's going on.
Aye,
And we
that's
can be in
it.
the loop, and I'll be here all the time. We're helping each other grow.
Buzzing, my man. That's exactly it. So, thank you for listening, whether it's on YouTube or maybe Spotify, hopefully. And for my next guest, who knows? We'll just see who we get. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll catch you in a bit.